Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Brendan from PageFly here, and this week we are doing another Shopify store review. So if you're new to the channel, the whole point of this is to review stores and just kind of show ways that we can increase conversions, trust, credibility, strengthen the branding, all that good stuff. So you can then go and implement it on your own store. So this week it's an interesting store. It's a brick shop, and they actually use our app to build the entire store, which is really cool. Gives us a chance to run through it and break it down. And without further ado, let's just jump straight in. And also, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this, or even leave a comment about future content that you might like to see. Alright guys, as promised, here we are, the BrickslipBrothers.com. And if you don't know, brick slips are just basically like brick coverings that give the illusion of an entire brick wall. They're actually made from real bricks, but obviously they just use a smaller surface of the brick to give that illusion. It looks really cool. It's got a really cool website to match. Now, I spoke to Christian briefly, who's the owner, and he designed this by himself using our app, PageFly, just simply by drag and dropping, and I'm really impressed, honestly. So let's go from top to bottom, and I'll tell you what I really like about this site. The logo really caught my eye. I think this is really fantastic. I think more people should be using basically just text logos with maybe some small design elements around it or behind it. I think, the era of like design logos, like Pepsi and stuff like that, I feel like it's kind of over, and now we're in an era, this obviously depends on your niche, but in the area of just keeping things minimal and being able to be identified just with the font that you use, Anyway, let's move on. So we've got a nice quote here, and then nice big hero image, and then we have this big claim right here, the UK's top reclaimed brick slip suppliers. So I really like this because I feel like if you're going to get into e-commerce and you really are confident in your product, you need to show that and just kind of speak your truth, and be unapologetically you in terms of what you believe in, your brand, your vision, your mission. So this is really cool. And then you can see the whole kind of style is based, well, this is my perception, the whole style is based around bricks. So all the buttons and, all the headings and stuff like that, it's all brick shaped, essentially, with the rounded corners. Then we go further down and we've got some sections about, domestic and residential, commercial, different applications for the product, essentially. And then you can see down here, there's some links to the blog. And then testimonials further down, which is an absolute must. So this is great. And then just basically more information. So one of the big things about having a website that converts is giving the customer enough information to actually make a decision. This is really important. And they've also got video here as well, which is fantastic. You can see the bricks in action and how they look. But yeah, this whole concept of just giving the potential customer enough information to make a decision, because they're trying to decide if your brand is the right fit for them. Now, I would say on this page, there's definitely enough information for the customer to get an idea about the brand and the product. But there are a couple of things I would change, just in terms of optimizing this. Look, my criticisms on this are very, very, very slight. There are very few, because I'm really impressed by this website in general. But if I was to say a couple of things that could just improve it even more and build on top of how well it's already doing, there would be a small proofreading needed. So for example, this opening quote, where classic quality brick slips and modern design beauty fuse. I tend to read that as where classic quality brick slips, modern design and beauty fuse or infuse, the fusion of that. So just, I've noticed it throughout the site, there are very, very small sections that just need proof edited. Now, it's not a big deal, but having all your grammar perfect and down pat, it just kind of helps with credibility a bit. It's not necessary to sell. It's definitely not necessary to sell and be successful. You don't need perfect grammar, but it just helps with credibility, okay? Now, the second thing I would alter is, although I love this design of the kind of brick concept, I've noticed that there's no differentiation between the buttons and the heading. So for example, this looks like a button right here, but it's not. These also look like buttons. So I was actually testing to see if I could click these, and obviously these ones that are highlighted red, these are the buttons, and you can see these ones have animations, and this is also a button, but on first glance it's quite hard to know what is a button and what isn't. So it would be really cool to see the buttons actually differentiated in some way, and that's easily done by just putting a sharper corner on the buttons and boxing them off a bit, making them a bit square, or like Christian's already done up here, making the button red, or even just changing the font of the button. Now, not changing it too drastically, but changing it so that it just stands out, because it's really important that whoever lands on your page, like, they need to know what clear action to take. And this is just absolutely vital, just to save any confusion. You'll be surprised how confused people get when they are browsing a website. So you want to simplify the process as much as possible. So it might sound a bit contradictory because I just said you need a lot of information on your page, but it's finding that balance between your page being really information rich, but also being simple enough that people know exactly which action to take. You want to make it so simple that a baby could do it, essentially. And that is honestly really the only recommendations I would make. I think the rest of the page is great. The images are beautiful. The style and design is amazing. So we're just going to quickly go to one of the product pages and see what's going on over here. Again, nice quick load speed. I only had to wait about 2 seconds, so that's ideal. Now, I haven't tested this side on mobile, but your page really needs to load within 3 seconds. Otherwise, you lost your customer. Essentially, we're the most impatient generation. So here we have nice product images. Again, this all just looks really good. We've got some nice testimonials here. You can scroll through them. Absolutely vital. I like the way they've put these up here. This is all part of having freedom of design with using a page builder app, because most Shopify themes won't let you do this. But in his case, he's just dragged and dropped this section in here, and he's made some adjustments to it, which is fantastic. And then we have these this is a calculator, and this is just more information on the product. Again, this is really cool. I love the design. I love the background images. I love the concept. A couple of points I would make. Now, I'm just not a fan of these trust badges in general. I think they're really not needed. I think if you're going to use them, just stick them down in the bottom somewhere. You'll notice that if you go to any well-established e-commerce site or a high-end e-commerce store or a high-end brand, they never have these trust badges. The whole kind of idea is like, if you have to tell someone to trust you, what's their first reaction? The first reaction is not to trust you. It's the same if someone tells you. So I don't actually have these in my store, and my store converts really well. It's not an issue. So if you want to include them, keep them down the bottom. It just it makes everything look a bit more clean, tidy, congruent, because you've got less colors. So I always like to keep the colors minimal, just in terms of design. And then my only other input would be this section right here. So obviously this doesn't contrast too well against the background image, because this background right here is a little bit busy. We've got some window frames and stuff like that. So the white text over it is a little bit hard to see. It's a bit hard to tell that these are buttons that can be expanded. So obviously a quick solution to that would just be to make that overlay a little bit darker, that gray overlay, just like they've done here, because you can see the contrast between the text and the background is really nice. But you can actually still see the images, which is great. And that is essentially it, apart from a small formatting issue like this button not being the same height as these. That's just a little issue of the padding around the text that can be increased. And yeah, look, like I said, again guys, this is a fantastic site. So the only suggestions that I would have to make to Christian and the rest of the guys at Brickslip Brothers is maybe have someone go over and proofread the site. And even if you want, hire a copywriter to, I'm not sure if they've done this, but hire a copywriter to make everything a little bit more kind of enticing and flow better and to clean it up a little bit. I would also find a way to differentiate the buttons from the design, the standard design, like the headings and the text. So here as well, I think the animation looks really good when you hover over with red. And yeah, that's essentially it. Everything else is really good. So like I said, Christian is using PageFly for this, and it just goes to show that this kind of site, which is just so unique in design, you wouldn't be able to make this with your standard Shopify theme. Generally, you'll notice with the Shopify themes is you've got your image, you've got your product description, and it just comes down in one column. So there's no versatility. Often you can't add videos, you can't add GIFs, you can't add any more rich information. So that's one of the unique advantages of using it. And if any of you guys out there want to give it a try, you can grab it on a 14-day free trial. And that's essentially it for this video. Christian, if you're watching, thanks for reaching out. And if anyone else wants to have their store reviewed, whether you're a beginner or you're intermediate or you're an expert in the e-commerce game, you might not need it if you're an expert, but feel free to reach out in the comment section. We're looking to just help people and bring value to the community, and give you our advice and also our experience, because I'm in e-commerce myself and I'm having a lot of success right now, and it's tried and tested stuff, guys, So leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content that's going to help you guys make more sales, okay? That's all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.